हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। अभ्रमं भङ्गरहितम् अजडं विमलं सदा आनन्दतीर्थमतलं भजेतापत्रयापहं मिथ्यासिद्धान्तदुद्ध्वान्तविध्वंसनविचक्षणः जयतीर्थाकृतनिर्भासतां नो हृदम्बरे अत्तिकल्पितकल्पोऽयं प्रत्यत्यकेसरी व्यासचित्तगुरुभूयात् अस्मदिष्टातसिद्धये तपोविद्याविरक्त्यादि नौघाकरानहं वादिराजगुरून् वन्दे हैग्रीपदाश्रयान् पूज्य राघवेन्द्राय धर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनवे दुर्वादिध्वान्तरवये वैष्णवेन्दीवरेन्दवे श्रीराघवेन्द्रगुरुवे नमो अत्यन्तयाळवे आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणामाक्तिं स्मरे तेन विज्ञाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ति मनोरथाः। हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. We had a long break, but hopefully you all had a great time with Dashara celebrations, and soon Diwali will be coming. Hope some of you would have had some time to go and revisit whatever we covered. We have done the 18th sloka of the fourth adhyaya, which was like almost like a riddle, but very interesting way. Acharya has commented on that. Karmanya karmaya pashyet akarmani cha karmaya sabuddhiman manushyesu sayuktah krishna karma krut. The interesting part is in the first half, the karma shabda along with its beginnings and endings appears four times. One who sees akarma and karma and akarma. So the words have to be interpreted properly, otherwise the great message will be lost. And Acharya Madhva has done a wonderful job in Bhashya and Tatparya, and how karma means action is the only one. Akarma means lack of action. That's all people can think of. But to interpret karma as jiva and paramatma and akarma as jiva and paramatma with different meanings. Like for example, akarma is not just absence of karma, but absence of free will in karma can be one who has that can be treated as akarma. Or then in that case it will become a jiva. Jiva does not have swatantra, so he is akarma. But Paramatma is also a karma, but a different interpretation. How Paramatma is a karma? He does not have karma bandha, that's why he is a karma. So, like this, by this wonderful arrangement, that will give the message that is embedded can be given to convey the all supremacy of Paramatma, all dependence of Jiva, all independence of Paramatma, and how things happen without our knowledge. Even when it appears as if nothing is happening, a lot of things may be happening. And how even in dream objects, when someone is sleeping, not doing anything, a lot of dream activities are going on. All this, who is doing it, how is doing it, and how we don't have control over it, how Paramatma alone has control it. All these are presented like a theorem. Like a beautiful theorem is presented in sloka number 18. And the application of the theorem, okay, we got it. Paramatma has all this swatantra, Jiva does not have swatantra, all that we understood. What if? What so? If that is the case, what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to use it? What do we have from that? So that is the next question. And that is answered in the next five slokas, starting from 19, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So these slokas, the next step, okay, after acquiring that knowledge, what do we do? How we implement it, that are told one by one. And the 19th sloka says, Yasya sarve samarambhaha kamasankalpavarjitaha jnanagni tam ahuhu panditam buddhaha. Buddhaha tam panditam ahuhu. Buddhaha, knowledgeable people, call tam, that person, panditam ahuhu. They call him pandita, knowledgeable person. That means uh, uh, people who are wise, they define this person is able to implement that properly, use that knowledge that was told in sloka number 18. This person is able to apply it properly. They say that. To whom? He says, Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni dagdha karman tam panditam ahu. So he should have all these qualities. Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha. What is samarambha? Samyak arambha. Samyak arambha means whatever actions the person performs, all the karma we call acharana, karma acharana, or all these things, when he is doing, that person, the knowledge, the person who acquired that special knowledge, he will do it with kama sankalpa varjita, without by giving up the kama and sankalpa. This is a very interesting concept, because how can you give up kama and sankalpa? It doesn't make sense. Like, you do any action, you should have the kama to do that. And you do sankalpa, yeah, all of you are aware, when we go to a temple, do a homa, do any pujas, we do sankalpa. They say, hey, let's go and do sankalpa. Everybody is standing in a line doing sankalpa. Sankalpa is a part of the process. So, sankalpa is needed, kama is needed, but he's saying kama, sankalpa, varjita. They give up kama and sankalpa. What is this? It's like conflicting. It looks like a contradictory thing. Whatever we are doing it, we're supposed doing it, we're all the time doing it. It's saying don't do it. Hey, I mean, doesn't make sense. How do we use it? Here, it's very interesting. Kama, sankalpa, varjita means here, not just the procedural way of doing sankalpa. Sankalpa means, okay, samyak kalpana. Basically, you are saying, when you say, hey, this is Vishnu Preranaya, Vishnu Prityartham, the sankalpa that you are doing is actually in a say way that you are acknowledging whatever is told in 18. That kind of sankalpa, that means whatever sankalpa we do, when we go to the temple, we do that sankalpa is acceptable form of sankalpa. Basically, you are saying, hey, this is, I am doing it because of the prerana, instigation from the Lord, and to please the Lord, I am doing it. So that sankalpa. But here, what sankalpa is mentioned is phala rupa sankalpa. That means when you are doing action, see, when we do the sankalpa in the temples, vrata, or whatever, homa, whatever this, you are not saying, okay, we say, okay, so, mama kutumbanam kshema stairya vijaya, all those things you are saying it. But that is saying Vishnu Preranaya, Vishnu Prityartham. All those things I want only for the sake of doing the according to Vishnu Prerana, and for the Vishnu Preeti I want. That means I want all those things as a form of worship to Vishnu. I want to use all those things as a form of worship to Vishnu. That means the selflessness is there in the sankalpa that we do. Without that selflessness, with the selfishness, we should not have the sankalpa. That means, hey, I want all those for my sake only, not for any Paramatma sake, not for doing any dharma karya, not for doing anything good, not for that, for my own enjoyment, for my own thing. I want my thing, my phala, with that phala ichha. That means kama is basically the desire for the fruit of the action. The desire for the fruit of action must not be the triggering factor. It may be there in the background of your mind. If I do this, this may happen. But it because I do that, it may happen. May happen, may not happen. I don't care. I am doing it for the sake of Paramatma. So the phala ichha, the desire for the fruit of the action, should not be the driving factor. Basically, what you are saying is the driving factor must be Vishnu Prerana, Vishnu Preeti. The driving factor should not be mere fruit. I don't care, I'm a businessman. I want to do this for the sake of Paramatma because I give something to him. He's supposed to give something to me. He's like demanding the rights. Hey, God, I am doing this for you. You better give this to me. So you are such a demanding attitude should not be there. That is what kama. Kama basically a negative aspect where you are doing a business transaction with Paramatma. Hey, I do this, you better give it to me. This kind of attitude should not be there. That is kama. Phala ichha without keeping Paramatma in the circle. That is not good. Same with the sankalpa. That means the ultimate goal. See, phala ichha, when I do this karma, I do this, I want this phala. And this karma is meant to obtain the phala, the sankalpa. So, these two, that means one is right away demanding it. Another thing is building a contract saying, okay, if I do this, you better do this. So, the sankalpa and kama. Sankalpa is basically the first, the prior stage, and whatever you do, action, pre-action mentality is sankalpa. Post-action demand is kama. phala ichha. Both pre-action and post-action, this kama and sankalpa should not be the driving factors. And this can come to your mind when you understand the sloka 18, Hari Swatantra Kartrutva, and the absence of Swatantra Kartrutva in you. If you digest this, then the Kama Sankalpa Varjita Guna will come automatically. You don't have to go lot of effort. I mean, still some effort is needed, but it is lot more possible if we digest, internalize the 18th sloka, then the 19th sloka will become more meaningful, and that is indicated by Jnanagni Dagdha Karmanam. That means the Dagdha means burnt away. Jnana Agni, the Jnana that is mentioned in the 18th sloka, acts like a fire. And what that will do is, it will burn that Swatantra Kartutva Karma Abhimana. So Dagdha Karmanam, Kartrutva, burning what? The Kartrutva Abhimana is what is, is not enough just to giving up the Kartrutva Abhimana. You have to give up phala Ichha, the desire for the fruit, and the Sankalpa to obtain the fruit. Both these things have to be given up. And I do this Varna Ashrama Uchita Karma, and from this Hari's Swatantra Kartutva Jnana, I will burn away the binding effects of the karma. Dagdha means burning away karma. How can you burn away the karma? Burning away the karma means burning away the effects of the karma. That means I do not want to be having the bandhana, the bondage of the karma. So this jnana dakta karma become the person. This jnana dagdha karmana means it is like a bahuvrihi samasa. That means one who has burnt out the effects of the karma through his jnana agni. That person is called jnana agni dagdha karma. And dvitiya vibhakti for that accusative case is jnanagni dagdha karmanam tam. That person who is jnanagni dagdha karma, that means one who has burnt out the bondage effect of the karma through his knowledge of the jnana, or through the jnana or knowledge of the whatever is told in 18th sloka, the Swatantrutva Paramatma, Swatantrakartutva Paramatma, Aswatantrakartutva Jiva, all these are the jnana, and that is like a fire. That fire can burn away the binding effects of the karma. One who has reached that stage, that person is called, or the Buddhas, wise people, call that person as a Pandita. Pandita means a knowledgeable person. So that such a person is called a knowledgeable person. Basically, that means it is actually telling what is the first step when you acquire the knowledge as mentioned in sloka number 18. The first step you do is whatever is mentioned in 19, giving up the kama sankalpa. These two have to be given up. That is the step number 1. Okay, what's step number 2? They may sound a little similar, but there are subtle differences. Like, for example, kama and sankalpa, as I mentioned, very small difference. Same way, whatever is told in 20, it may look like similar, but there is actually a small difference is there. As we go through that, we will mention that. Sloka number 20 says, Tyaktva karma phalasangam nityattrupto nirashrayah karman abhipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. Here also karma phala is being talked about, asanga is being talked about, which seems to be a repetition of the idea. But it is not the repetition of the idea, but it is a different idea. And how it is not a repetition, how it is a different idea than whatever has already been told, that we'll cover in the next class, because I want to allow some time for the question and answer session. But whatever is told in the 20th sloka is the next step for after acquiring the knowledge of the 18th, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. These 5 slokas are application of the 18th sloka. So the 20th sloka, Depth of it, we'll cover it in the next class. Hare Srinivasa. Any questions are there? You can feel free to ask. Hare Srinivasa.
Srinivas Durgade.
Yeah,
I had one question on this.
yeah,
In the 18th shloka, Karmanya Karmaya Pashyeta Karmani Cha Karmaya,
yeah,
Madhvacharya interpreted it in one way in his Bhashya and Tatparya.
yeah,
But and the other philosophers such as Adi Shankaracharya and Ramanujacharya, they interpreted the wrong way.
yeah.
So how do they interpret these next few shlokas according to their commentary?
Yeah, because they did not get the hang of the 18th sloka. What happened was when they interpreted the next slokas, they could not differentiate. For example, this karma phala, fruits of the action, that's all they said. That means it looks like a repetition. So the slippery slope. Once the first one, they made a mistake in 18, not understanding the correct meaning. The 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 also, they lost the string of it. They gave, just as they gave a literal meaning for the 18, for 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 also they gave literal meanings. But the literal meanings for them also look as if they are just repeating the same thing again and again and again. So because the is like a slippery slope. Once the 18 is misinterpreted, 19 to 23 also got into the wrong. Basically, it's like putting in the screw. You turn the screw or not. First, you go onto the wrong thread. Then you cannot, no matter how much you turn the wrong thread, you cannot put it in. You have to take it, put it back again into the right thread. So that is what happened for all of them, both Shankaracharya and Ramanujacharya. Since they missed the 18th sloka, 19th to 23 also they did not get the correct hang of it. They made a similar mistake for that. So what I will do is, yeah, it's a very interesting question. By taking all these six slokas, 18th to 23, how Madhvacharya's interpretation had to be taken. I mean, everybody say ours is the correct interpretation. So, but why? What is the, no? We have to give the reasoning. So Ramanuja and Shankaracharya and Ramanuja, what how they interpreted these six slokas, and why it is not convincing. No, you can say, okay, this is one interpretation that can be alternate interpretation because Acharya himself gave two different Bhashya and Tatparya, two different things. Both are acceptable. Why can't Shankara and Ramanuja also be acceptable? It could have been if it gives a good meaning, but there's a problem with that. So, what is the problem? That is to be addressed. So, I will do that. I'll do a write up by comparing all three schools for these six slokas. What Madhvacharya told, we are going through that, and what Shankaracharya and Ramanujacharya they told, and why it is not appropriate. Why there is some lacunae, there's some defects, there's some problems with that, issues with that. That I will mention that in that write up actually. Yeah, is a good question.
Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Sure.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಗುರುಜಿ,
Yeah,
ನಂಗೊಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇತ್ತು.
yeah,
ಮೇನ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ,
yeah,
ಲೈಕ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈ ಡೈಲಿ ಲೈಫ್, ಹೌ
yeah,
ಕೆನ್ ಐ ಇನ್ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ದಟ್ ರಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಲಾಪೇಕ್ಷೆ? ಲೈಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಾನು the main thing I do when I go to school is ನಾ ಚಲೋ ಓದ್ಕೋಬೇಕು.
yeah,
So I study and I study for a test, and I study because I want a good grade on the test.
yeah,
And if I get a good grade on the test, I'll get a good GPA. GPA, good college. Hanga, eventually, I'm just doing whatever karma for some kind of phala. So what can I do to, take that out? And even though I still want a good grade, ನಾನು ಬರೀ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಗತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂಥರ like
yeah,
I'm detached from the result. How, any
yeah.
tips on that?
Yeah, good question. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ the question is very good question. Suppose you are taking an antibiotic. Antibiotic ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು is very bitter. So they want to give the child the antibiotic. While giving the antibiotic, they add some sugar syrup or some good fruit flavor, something they add. The child takes, oh, this antibiotic is good. and it is tasty now. Now earlier it was bitter, it doesn't want to take, the child one. When you add this sugar or whatever, rochanartham, that's why. So it adds and they say the child, oh, I enjoy that. So as a small child, you give the antibiotic, it takes antibiotic, very tasty, and the child thinks, oh, the sugar part of it is what is curing my disease. Now whatever fever or pain, disease, whatever is there, the child thinks, oh, the sugar part is what is curing my disease. But when the child grows up, becomes a bigger, then oh my God, it's not the sugar part, it's not the sweet part that is curing, it's actually the antibiotic part that is curing. It comes to know it later.
Yeah.
But it's okay, rochanartham, for the sake of making the child take the antibiotics, sugar is added, something. So the palapeksha is like that, is like adding a sugar. It's okay. As a child, you add, and even even grown-ups also, up to some point, they may do actions with a desire for the fruit. Okay, that's not really, at least they're doing the good actions. So,
Yeah.
but eventually, when they become mature more and more, just as a child grows up and realize, oh, I don't need now this sugar part. Forget about sugar. Now I'll take antibiotic because that's what is curing my disease. I want just antibiotic. I don't need the sugar syrup. So
Yeah.
just as after maturity it gets that same way, you were also, oh, I was doing with the desire for the fruit, and I know Paramatma knows everything now. I realize it now. So God, I don't ask anything. You do whatever is good for me. So
Yeah.
you reach that stage, then you give up. So that is okay. It's not really a big crime that, oh, you desire for something is a big crime. No, it's not. Because like a children, we are all like children and we do something along with the sugar syrup. But later we realize that's fine. Later it comes. So doing is important. So that starting stages, that is perfectly fine.
Okay, so basically, to summarize, Madodo, there's nothing wrong with doing it, as long as after you get the jnana, getting that realization with every karma you do, that's the main part of that.
Yes, yes.
Okay. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Sure, sure. Namaskar. Yeah, very nice. Good questions. Yeah. Okay, we'll again continue on Wednesday. Hare Srinivasa.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ರೀ, ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಹರೀಶ್
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಗುರುಗಳೇ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಹರೇ
ಹರೇ
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು
ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ.
ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಹರೇ
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಹರೇ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ.
ಹರೇ
Hare Srinivasa.
ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ. ಹರೇ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ.